Good morning. This is Colette Marie. I am coming to you from my beautiful abode. It is Sunday morning, and we just finished a wonderful 10 a.m. yoga class via Zoom. So I thought I would use this opportunity to comb over a few things and offer a short practice, something that you can do on your own at home intermittently for about 15 minutes, perhaps 10 minutes. Just a few things to loosen up the hips and spine and shoulders, and use it as a supplement for other activities that you might be doing at home. And you will sporadically see my black Labrador retriever walking around, if not sitting next to me, as part of the yoga practice. So, with that said, I wanted to go over a few seated postures that you can do on your own at home. This will be sort of a yin experience. And to also share with you that I am not a very flexible yogi, uh, as some of my other yoga colleagues are. So my practice tends to be more modified in that I use pillows and blocks and different things to help ease myself into a pose in a seated posture, particularly when it comes to the hip flexors being tight. So mine are still working their way out. It's been a number of years. I'm okay with it. At this point in my practice, I've accepted aspects of my body that need to take its own sweet time to cultivate more flexibility and uh, just better range of motion in certain areas with regards to certain postures. That being said, I'm in a comfortable, easy pose, cross-legged seated pose. My right leg is over the left leg. So this can be something to work on here. You might also consider putting pillows and or blocks underneath the knees if there is a bit of a tension and tightness in the hips. For right now, my knees are still a little bit elevated over the hips. There is a slight decline. Ideally, you want to have the hips highly, a little bit more elevated so that the knees themselves actually are in line with the hips. So with me pressing my fingers into the mat, you can kind of see how now the knees fall a little bit more. But I'm still comfortable with the way things are. Again, I sometimes put things underneath the knees. So at this point, I'm going to take my hands, and you can do the same thing and follow me here, and take a deep breath in through the nose. And on the exhale, you can start to make your way into a cross-legged seated forward fold. I'm going to turn my body so you can see what's happening from the side view, which might give you a better understanding of how you can work with your body. So here's the side view. I'm bringing my arms and hands in front of me. If you have a very tight, uh, if you have tight hips, in the sense that leaning forward is only going to go so far, that's fine. Just lean. You can have a nice long spine in that process. You can look down at a slight angle so that the neck is in line with the rest of the spine. If, however, you feel as though more stretch is available, then you can bring the body forward a little more. Perhaps rest your forearms on blocks or pillows. Or if you feel like a little more is doable, then lower your body to a point that you feel comfortable. At this point, I'm going to let my head hang down. You can let your head hang all the way down. For the sake of audio, I'm not going to let my head hang too far down because then my voice gets muffled. So I'm going to just be here in this space for a few breaths. The shoulders, we want to have them fall and soften. We don't want to have the shoulders rising to the ears. We want to relax in the posture as much as we can. Again, this is an easy sitting pose, easy-ish, depending on where you are in your body. Again, you can sit on something to help elevate your pelvis so that the pelvis is up higher, or keep it seated. We'll take one more deep breath in and out in our cross-legged seated forward fold. On your next breath in, let's go ahead and bring the body back to an upright position. Let's recross the legs. We don't want to always do the easy side. What happens when we do that is that we become one side dominant. While the muscles lengthen on one side, they shorten on the other. And then when you try to do the pose on the less comfortable side, there's this added layer of discomfort because we haven't spent enough time sitting in a cross-legged position with the opposite leg in front. So now here we are. My left hip is not as available in terms of flexibility as the right. Therefore, my ability to lean forward will be diminished a bit, which I'm okay with. So I'll do what I can. I'll do the best that I can, and this is where I will be for today. I will lengthen the spine here, have a slight gazing downward with my eyes so that my neck is in line with the rest of my spine. And I'm gonna be here and take deep breaths, relaxing the shoulders. Perhaps somewhere in the middle of this, maybe a breath or two or three in the process of being here, my left hip becomes a little less intense with discomfort and a bit more agreeable with leaning forward a little more, in which case I will finger walk my hands forward another ½ inch. And I will settle here. I will inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. We'll take one more deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the nose. On the next breath in, let's walk the body back to an upright place, at which point we can stretch out both legs long. Ground the sit bones. Flex your feet. Sit nice and tall. Seated forward fold. If this straight line is not happening with the body while you're also able to flex your feet and reaching forward doesn't happen, I would recommend two things. One, either put pillows or blocks underneath the knees, where thereby you can lean forward with ease, or elevate the hips, sit on something, and then again, that will help to bring more ease to the pose. At this point, I'm gonna keep my fingers down on the ground. I'm gonna finger walk my hands forward on the inhale, and then exhale, lean into the stretch. This is about as far as I can go, right? When I try to flex my feet, there's a bit of a shake that happens. The hamstrings for me are tight. They've gotten better, but this is a pretty tight thing. Now, two things are happening. One, I'm keeping my spine long, and I'm leaning in at an angle as opposed to rounding my back and curling forward. So I'm gonna stay straight here in my spine and breathe. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. We'll take one more deep breath in and out. On the next inhale, slowly bring the body back to an upright place. And then we'll let the feet relax. Maybe shake out the feet. Maybe have them splay out, maybe turn them in, point flex, rotate ankles around in circles, squish the toes, fan the toes. We'll move on to an inner groin stretch. We're gonna take the feet together, bound angle pose. Again, because my knees clearly, as you can see, they don't hit the ground, right? So I'll turn back forward so you can see an anterior view. So I would need to have something underneath the knees, or I would have to have my hips elevated so that the knees can relax downward a bit more. Um, but I've accepted this position for what it is. And so rather than trying to force my way down, I'm gonna just lean into the pose. I'm gonna peel the inner arches apart, use my thumbs for that, press the elbows inside where the calves are, take a deep breath in, and lean forward and breathe. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. We'll take one more deep breath in and out here. On your next inhale, go ahead and bring the body back to an upright place. Use your hands, guide the knees together. Maybe give yourself a little hug here. So this kind of helps bring some relaxation to the hips if they're feeling a bit uncomfortable. And that will depend on where you are in your hip range of motion and pliability. Everyone is in a different place. Internally rotating hip postures might be easier for some and harder for others. Vice versa, externally rotating hip postures might be easier for some and harder for others. For me, externally rotating hip postures tend to be a little easier than the other. That being said, I'm going to take out the legs for a wide leg forward fold stretch. And depending on where you are in your hip range of motion and pliability, either the legs will be out somewhere between, here and here. Some people have a wider placement with feet. That means they have a lot more flexibility going on interiorly. So wherever you are with that, a couple things to note. Feet, people ask, what do I do with my feet? Do I point the toes? Do I flex the toes? Well, I am suggesting play with both, flex and or point. I like to do both. Why do I flex? Well, when I flex and lean forward, I actually get a hold of the calves. So as I lean forward into the stretch, I feel it in the calves a bit more, in addition to the groin and adductor muscles. So as I inhale, lean forward, I exhale and lower to the forearm. So for me, I'm okay here. I will work on flexing. My left calf and inner thigh is a bit tighter, so this one struggles a bit with the flexing. But I work with it as best as I can. Sometimes I might even just help pull the toes back, which is not easy to do. And I'll stay here and breathe with the pose. But at some point, I'll start to work with pointing the toes because that feels good for me. So I will work on that. I might even help point those toes down and get a really glorious stretch across top of the foot and into the anterior tibialis muscle, which is here. So for my legs, this feels very good, particularly with my left. It feels increasingly better on the left side. That being said, I kind of will point and flex the toes a few rounds while I'm in my fold. Right? Again, you can put blocks and pillows under the knees, or you can elevate the pelvis and sit on something to allow for the stretch to occur. Either way, however you have yourself arranged, take a deep breath in and out here. I apologize. You might see me well, you might not see me that well. I'm noticing that I'm a little bit dim. There's a lot of natural light in my apartment. So the halo light is only able to compete with it so much. So I apologize for the silhouette aspect of the visual, but as long as you hear me and can see what I'm doing for the most part, which I believe you can, continue your practice with some of these postures. Use what you have at home, pillows from the sofa, from your bed. Um, Sit on them, place them in areas that will be helpful. If you have a yoga strap, you could use a strap to assist in some of these postures. So that those are always helpful things to do. With regards to a seated spinal twist, we can do a couple of different things. First, let's go ahead and bring the feet in. Give the knees a hug like we did last time. Take a deep breath in and out here. And then let's get ready for a half spinal twist, a seated half spinal twist. I'm going to turn the other direction so you can see how my body is arranged from the side view. I'm going to start with the left leg out, and I'm going to work with the right foot going over the left knee. So this is the modification. Left leg is long, point or flex the toes. Again, it's something that's personal preference, but do something with the foot. You never want the foot to just be lazily like hanging out to the side. Give it a direction. For me, pointing tends to be easier. I also do this other thing with my foot, sort of like a between pointing and flexing. I call it the Barbie foot. It's where I push, if you can kind of see, I push the ball of the foot forward. I create this nice arch in the foot. And so this has been my means of doing stuff with the foot, giving it direction. So I call it the Barbie foot. So flex point, not to make it gender specific, but Ken doesn't have these sorts of feet. Ken has flat feet. So the Ken doll, I can't refer to Ken doll. Anyway, being silly. So find the placement for the foot. Right foot goes over left knee. At this stage, I'm going to go ahead and hug this right knee with my left arm. Right. So this is my method. Now I get a pretty good stretch here in the outer thigh. And I'm going to rotate the right arm around in a circle, inhaling and exhaling, and plant the hand behind me. Here I get to really get torque out of the spine and twist my body accordingly. You can have the finger pads on the mat. You can have the palms flat. As long as you're not leaning into the pose, but you're sitting tall, that's the ideal placement we want to have with the body. And we'll take another deep breath in and out. Some people have the Om symbol. Some people have the arm outside of the leg. This might give you a little more turn in the body, a little more twist. Definitely is effective on that note. I like the hug method because I want to relax my inner thigh muscles and hip flexors so that my arm holding onto the knee allows for that while I twist. So this is my method. I'll take one more deep breath in and out here. I'm going to inhale now, bring the right arm around and down. And I'm going to switch feet. All right, now we're going to bring the left knee over the right knee. And though my back is going to face the camera, just notice that with this side, I really can't get that compression in the hip flexors on this left side because there's a tightness there. It's significant enough for me to not allow me to hug the knee. Maybe I'll just turn the other way so you can see. So now I lose this hug action without having to sit on something, in which case I probably will need to sit on something. If I don't sit on anything, then I just hold on to the knee because there's the tightness that's there. So I'll inhale, bring the left arm up and around. Exhale, bring it down. So here's my twist. This is my version of my twist. Sometimes I might loop my arm through and hold. Feels good. So as long as I get what I need out of the spine, that's really the most important aspect to this pose. It is a twist after all, so we're more focused on the spine more than the hips themselves, but the hips do play a secondary role. The shoulders play a tertiary role because there is a little bit of a stretch here, at least in the arm that's down. All of that to be said, we'll take one more deep breath in and out. And then we'll bring the left arm up and around, inhale. Exhale, bring it down. We'll stretch out both legs again. Point and flex your toes. Sitting tall. All right. So we've addressed the hamstrings, the groin, the hip flexors, our low back. I will turn to face you all again and come to my more comfortable cross-legged side. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale through the nose. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale. Deep breath in. And exhale. One more breath in. One more breath out. We'll bring the hands together over the heart center. Thank you all for tuning in for this brief hip hamstring seated tutorial for our body for this morning. You can use this practice intermittently or as a supplement to other things, and we'll build on it. So this is a short, brief experience, and we'll add more to it in the future. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.